Namaskar, greetings, and gratitude. I welcome you all to the Inspirational Star Talks episode number 52. And with me on the hot seat today is Major General Sanjeev Chowdhry, retired. He is a career counselor. He is also working as a chief editor with United Service Institution of India, which is a leading think tank in Delhi. I welcome you, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for the kind invitation to be here, Dr. Preeti, on this platform. I'm truly honored by this opportunity to reflect, share, and hopefully inspire. Your thoughtful initiative, which I have seen, is commendable, and I'm delighted to be part of it. So I look forward to our interaction and to contributing meaningfully to your platform.
Thank you so much. I'm honored. Thank you. From commanding troops in uniform to mentoring students in the classrooms. So, how has your leadership philosophy evolved in this new chapter of your life?
That's an insightful question, and thank you very much for asking. Transitioning from commanding troops in uniform to mentoring students in classrooms has been, how shall I put it, has been a humbling and eye opening journey full of lessons. In the army, leadership was defined by clarity, decisiveness, and the ability to inspire confidence even in the most uncertain of moments. You had to be the calmest person in the room, whether it was a war zone, a border post, or just a tent during a rain during a combat exercise. You always led from the front with orders, strategy, and occasionally a leech in your boot, reminding you of nature's own chain of command. But when I stepped out of uniform and into the world of mentoring and career counseling, this terrain shifted. What was my battlefield now? There were classrooms, seminar rooms, Zoom calls, coaching and mentoring sessions filled with curious minds and even more curious questions. Instead of briefing troops, I found myself navigating conversations that started as, Sir, should I become a lawyer or a YouTuber? Or how do I fix my English speaking skills so that I don't freeze in an interview? And I must say, both roles demand strategic thinking, just maybe with a different kind of maps. So, what's interesting in that, while the environment has changed, the core principles of leadership have not. They still remain integrity, empathy, clarity of thought, and are non negotiable. So, what has evolved is the way leadership is expressed. It's no longer about giving crisp, unquestionable orders. Today, for me, it is about offering possibilities, asking the right questions, and knowing when to speak, and very importantly, when to listen. In the army, I led platoons. Now I lead conversations. And let me assure you, guiding a young adult through the chaos of career options and identity crisis sometimes require as much as tact as handling a team with clashing opinions and tight deadlines. So, this new chapter has taught me that leadership doesn't always need to roar. Sometimes it whispers, it nudges, it reassures. It's not about commanding presence anymore, it's about creating a presence, creating a space where people can reflect, ask difficult questions, and find the courage to grow. A space where someone feels safe enough to say, I don't know what to do with my life, and trust that they will not be judged and only guided. And as I look back, I realize that leadership is not continued to the battlefield or the boardroom. It lives in the ability to influence, to uplift, and to serve a purpose larger than oneself, regardless of the uniform. So, whether I am helping someone conquer self doubt instead of a hilltop or coaching them through a career fork rather than a tactical ambush, the mission still remains the same: to lead with meaning and leave behind a trail where others can walk with confidence. That to me is leadership in its truest and most enduring form in my changed role. Thank you.
How beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Sir, What inspired you to take up career counseling post retirement? And I am curious to know, how do your years in the Indian Army influence the guidance you offer to today's youth?
Thanks for that question too. It's one that brings me back to the very heart of my second innings. After retiring from the Indian Army, I found myself still waking up at 5 a.m. out of habit, not necessity, polishing shoes that did not need polishing, aligning cushions like bunk beds, and pausing at the door expecting a sentry's salute. But what I missed most wasn't the uniform or the parades. It was a sense of purpose, that invisible thread that binds your day to do something bigger than yourself. That's when I realized while I had hung up the uniform, the mission wasn't over. It had merely changed form. Career counseling felt like a natural continuation of what I had always done in uniform, mentoring young officers, guiding soldiers who were more than just rank and file, and shaping minds that would one day lead others. The army had given me decades of experience in understanding human potential under pressure, in uncertainty, and often with limited resources. I thought, why not use that wisdom to serve a different battlefield, the complex and confusing world of careers? So, what truly pulled me into this field was watching how overwhelmed today's youth are. They are surrounded by a blizzard of choices: technical, design, government, entrepreneurship, and even becoming influencers. Then there's the pressure from the social media, a pressure from your peers, and that one persistent uncle or aunt who insists, Beta, IASC bano. I wanted to be the voice that cuts through that noise, not with orders, but with clarity. I wanted to say to a young person, let's find your path, not the one society prescribed, but the one that aligns with your interests, your personality, your aptitude, your strengths, your values, and your aspirations. So my years in the army taught me to look beyond what's visible. I used the same principles I once applied in operational planning: know the terrain, understand the mission, prepare thoroughly, and never lose sight of the bigger picture. And yes, I still throw in a military analogy or two, like how choosing a career is like selecting your battlefield. You must know your ground, understand your tools, choose your comrades wisely, and most importantly, know what you are fighting for. Career setbacks, like operational setbacks, are part of that journey. What matters is resilience. Whether you are stuck in Siachen or stuck in a software job you don't love, your ability to bounce back will define your trajectory. Today, whether I am guiding a class 10 student unsure of subject choices or a mid career professional contemplating a switch, I feel the same sense of service I felt in uniform. The salutes have been replaced by thank yous, the mess dinners by counseling sessions, but the mission is still deeply human and immensely fulfilling. In the end, my inspiration came from the same place it has always has, the desire to serve. Just that now, instead of defending borders, I help define boundaries. Instead of leading battalions, I help individuals lead their own lives with confidence, clarity, and courage. And that, for me, is purpose redefined. Thank you.
This is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, yes, as someone pursuing certification in soft skills training, what, in your view, are the top three soft skills that today's young professionals must master to succeed in their life?
Oh, that's interesting, and I'll be glad to share my take on that. It's actually a very timely question, especially in today's fast paced, ever evolving professional world. Let's be honest, having a degree might help you to land the interview, maybe even your first job. But what really helps you to thrive, grow, and lead, that's where soft skills come in. Having spent decades in uniform, now transitioning into the world of soft skills training, I have come to realize that some of the most important lessons in leadership, teamwork, and resilience aren't taught in classrooms or textbooks. They are experienced, practiced, and refined over time. So, if I had to pick up the top three soft skills that every young professional should master to succeed in life, I'd say: one, communication; two, emotional intelligence; and three, adaptability. Let's start with communication. And I don't just mean flawless grammar or a polished accent. I mean effective communication. That is, being able to convey your ideas with clarity, confidence, and sincerity. Can you write an email that gets to the point without sounding abrupt? Can you make your presence felt in a meeting without dominating the room? Can you listen, really listen, without waiting for your turn to speak? That is the kind of communication that builds trust, drives collaboration, and ultimately opens doors. What is next? Next up is emotional intelligence. If I had to define it simply, I'd say it is the ability to understand your and the other's emotions and manage them both with grace. I have seen soldiers hold their nerve under fire, and I have seen people crumble over a critical feedback email. What made the difference? Self awareness, empathy, and emotional regulation. In today's workplace, EQ is what helps you navigate conflict, build strong relationships, and be the kind of person others want on their team, especially when the going gets tough. Finally, let's talk about adaptability. In the army, we had a motto: improvise, adapt, overcome. And in the civilian world, it holds true too. So it might sound more like update your app, learn the new tool, and be ready for plan B by lunchtime. The world is changing, industries are evolving, job roles are shifting, technologies are disrupting old ways of working. So if you can embrace change instead of resisting it, you'll always stay one step ahead. Together, these three soft skills form a very, very powerful toolkit. Think of it like a Swiss Army knife for your career: compact, versatile, and surprisingly effective for any situation. And if you can carry it with humility, purpose, and a touch of humor, which is very important, you'll not only succeed, you'll enjoy that journey. To conclude, I often tell young professionals this: hard skills may get you hired, but soft skill will get you promoted. And more importantly, they'll earn you respect. Master communication, grow your emotional intelligence, and remain adaptable. And you'll find yourself not just surviving in your career, but leading with impact. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for this. Very valuable, I must say. It is. After a long and decorated military career, what does give back time personally mean to you? And how can more veterans be encouraged to engage in civil society post retirement?
Thank you. That's a nuanced question and one that deserves a very, very thoughtful answer. To me, give back time is like the encore after a long, intense concert. It's that sacred space where the applause may have faded, but the music still lingers in your heart. And you feel compelled to share it one more time, not for recognition, but for meaning. After having served 37 years in the Indian Army, a journey filled with moments that ranged from commanding troops in rugged terrain to planning complex operations, from comforting a young Jawan to negotiating his domestic problems, I retired with a chest full of experiences, and more importantly, a heart still full of purpose. I had learned everything from battle tactics to how to function on 4 hours of sleep and 50 cups of chai. But what truly stayed with me was the value of service: service to the nation, and yes, service to our men, and also to the people who form its soul. So when I stepped into civilian life, give back time became less of a retirement activity and more of a calling. Whether I am mentoring a student, it is essential to recognize and translate their military skills into civilian competencies, provide structured resettlement and transition programs, facilitate employment and entrepreneurship opportunities, involve them in public service and in community initiatives, and ensure that psychological support for smooth reintegration. Collaboration between government, industry, and the civil society is the key to unlocking their potential as disciplined, capable contributors to national development. We need structured platforms that ease this transition, from parade grounds to playgrounds, from command posts to community posts, whether it's through teaching, entrepreneurship, vocational training, disaster response, or mentoring. It's not about reinventing ourselves, but our strengths. Civil society has no shortage of challenges, and veterans bring clarity, discipline, and a sense of mission that can truly make a major difference. I often tell fellow veterans Your medals were earned in service to the nation, but your legacy, that will be built in service to its people. So, to conclude, we once wore the uniform with pride. Now it's time to wear purpose with grace. Because the battlefield has changed, yes, but the values, the resilience, and the commitment to serve remain unchanged. And if even a fraction of our veteran community steps forward to give back, I believe society will gain not just from mentors, but more torchbearers. Let the second innings be as meaningful as the first, because service never retires, it only finds new forms. Thank you.
Wonderful thoughts. Wonderful. Yes. Thank you. So, my last question for the day. Outside your professional pursuits, you are also an avid photographer, philanthropist, and numismatist. How do these hobbies contribute to your personal growth and balance in life?
Oh, that's a lovely question, and thank you for asking. Now, photography, philately, and numismatics, they may sound like three very different pursuits, but for me, they have become quite components in this phase of life. If I had to put it simply, they are my version of yoga for the soul, minus the complicated headstands which we did in the army. You see, after decades in the army, where every moment was driven by purpose, deadlines, and duty, I found myself seeking something slower, something that allowed me to pause and just be. That's where photography stepped in. With a camera in hand, I rediscovered the power of silence, of observation. I started seeing beauty in the everyday, in the way sunlight filters through a banyan tree, or how a pigeon stares you down as if you owe it rent. Capturing such moments had taught me patience, perspective, and the joy of waiting, not for orders this time, but for the perfect light. Philately and numismatics, on the other hand, have turned me into a sort of armchair historian. Every stamp and coin I collect is a window into another time, another world. I have held coins that were used during the reign of British India, stamps that celebrated forgotten festivals, and even quirky shapes, a triangle shaped stamp from the Cape of Good Hope, a cloud shaped one from Bhutan, and a transparent one from Austria. Now, these aren't just collectibles, they are stories frozen in time. They have taught me to appreciate the finer details and perhaps sharpened the way the same eye I once used to scan the maps in the army. But more than that, these hobbies help me maintain balance. They are grounding, calming, and endlessly fascinating. In a world that's always been in rush, they invite me to slow down. They invite me that growth doesn't have to be loud or linear. Sometimes it is the quiet discovery of a rare postmark or the joy of photographing a bird you patiently tracked for about half an hour, only for it to fly off just when you click. And yes, they are excellent conversation starters. When some friend visits you and sees my coin trays, sometimes even inevitably they say, "Oh, I thought that was spare change," which usually leads to a delightful exchange of stories, history, and a bit of laughter. Above all, these hobbies remind me of something simple yet profound. Personal growth doesn't retire just because you do. We are all lifelong learners, and sometimes the best classrooms are tucked inside stamp albums or hidden behind camera lenses. Thank you.
So wonderful, so wonderful. So beautifully, you've shared your experiences, your insights. It's really nice knowing you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Major General Sanjeev, for coming to the Star Talks. So glad
I
you're
also,
here today.
I also want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of your channel. This conversation has been more than just an interview. It's been a moment of reflection, and I'm
Yeah,
truly grateful to you for that. Your
yeah.
warm and thoughtful questions made it easy to speak from the heart. I admire the platform you've built, one that informs, uplifts, and inspires. I look forward to staying connected, and I wish you continued success in curating stories that bring meaning and perspective to this world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, my dear audience, for being with us in this lovely conversation with Major General Sanjeev Chowdhury today. I will come back with another personality who has inspired my life. Till then, see you. Good
Thank
day
you.
to all of you.